Hello, my name is Raj, and today I'm going to show you how we can install Ubuntu 24.04 with encryption loops 2 LVM partition at any size. So basically, let's say you have many hard drives like this, and each hard drive is like 250 gigabyte. These are 250 gigabyte, and you don't want to install Ubuntu the entire 250 gigabyte hard drive because you just possibly just want to install a fixed partition, let's say 40 gigabyte. So how can you install Ubuntu on a 40 gigabyte partition with encryption, like the entire Ubuntu system encrypted, you know? So this is not full disk. Well, it's kind of like full disk. Well, there's two types of full disk. One is like hardware based full disk, where the hardware has supports encryption, like this one. A good hard drive like Crucial should support encryption. This one, I'm not sure if it does, but I know these doesn't. So I basically just want something has software-based encryption, but not hardware-based encryption. Anyhow, you would want to encrypt your entire Ubuntu system, the entire operating system. And Ubuntu does it, but they make it extremely complicated than it should be, especially for Ubuntu 24.04. For some reason, they left it out, which is stupid. But anyway, the stuff is free. You shouldn't be complaining. But there's a really easy way to do this. Now, I see that everyone on the internet, they're doing things a very complicated way. Like you have to go mess with the bootloader, grub, and all of those things. Like, no, let's not do that. That's just too complicated, and it's unnecessary. We don't have time for that. It just makes no sense to start playing around with grub and all the bootloader, all the sectors, and the GUID and UUID and all of those other things. There's just no point of doing that. We just want to do a fresh installation of a fixed partition. We want to install Ubuntu on a fixed partition and just get life rolling, Just keep it simple. Now, how we can do this? We will use something called VirtualBox, Oracle's VirtualBox. It's a VM. Yes, it's very simple. It takes only a few minutes. We can do this entire thing can be done within like less than 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, done. And that's about it. You don't have to spend days trying to find, how we can first make a Luke's partition, then we install Ubuntu in it, and then we're gonna have to do all of these other, just unnecessary things like almost like 50 different steps. We don't have to do any of those things. No programming, nothing. Just press a few buttons and that's it. Just get things rolling. So I'll show how it's done and why certain situations you would want to do this. You see, I have this entire hard disk. I got like many of these, like several of them. And the thing is, why would you want to install Ubuntu in the entire hard drive? That just doesn't make any sense. Like Ubuntu, for me, I don't use Ubuntu like as a primary operating system. The stuff is Linux. I rather use FreeBSD, and that's what I use. I use FreeBSD as my primary operating system. I also use Windows as my primary operating system, not Linux. Linux is just a tool. We use it as a tool, and so therefore, why use the entire hard drive to install Linux? You're never going to use those other space. So, in many cases, what we do is we install Windows, FreeBSD, Unix, and Linux. It's called a multi-boot, all in one hard drive. That's what we want to do. But for my situation, I want to make a master copy. I want to install Ubuntu in one hard drive and make sure it's only like small, like not 200 gigabytes, not 100 gigabytes. No, because when you make a master copy, you want to make sure it's small as possible so that you can quickly copy it to another computer, make clones out of it. So that, therefore, I want to make an Ubuntu master copy that is at least not more than 40 gigabyte, because I want to copy this thing, clone it to another hard drive, make identical clones with less than 5 minutes. I don't have the time to install Ubuntu in one hard drive, and this is the master copy, because I'm going to install Ubuntu on it and then install all my applications, all my tools, all of my specific things to it that makes it my favorable distro. I do not want to install it on a 250 gigabyte SSD hard drive, and then when I want to make a clone, well, it's going to be stupid, because now you're going to start copying the entire 250 gigabyte into the cloned other hard drive, and you're just copying byte by byte, bit by bit, 250 gigabyte from one place to another place, where you only need to copy just the installation of Ubuntu, which is like what, 20 gigabytes, 40 gigabytes. Like the installation itself is going to be like 7-8 gigabytes, and then partition is going to be maybe like 40 gigabytes. So we just need to copy only the 40 gigabyte partition to this one, to the where we're going to clone it. So in my situation, I want Ubuntu to be encrypted, do an installation of Ubuntu to a 40 gigabyte partition. Now we can't do this, we all know we can't do this on Ubuntu 24.04, so I'm going to show you how this could be done. Simple as that. So I'm going to explain in video. Well, I'm going to draw things out too, so you can skip this if you want, but this is for people who has no clue what's going on and want some more clarification. And I'm also making this video for myself too, because I know in the future I'm going to have to do another Ubuntu master copy for some reason. Maybe I accidentally deleted my master copy or whatnot. And well, the thing is, I have many Ubuntu installations, like you see, like many of them. The problem is that for the past 5-6 years, I was installing Ubuntu as encrypted the entire hard drive, and these hard drives, they do not have hardware encryption, but we call it like TPM. So what's the point of doing the full disk encryption? I'd rather do the full operating system encryption. That's so. I said, you know what? It's time to figure this thing out, and simply install Ubuntu on a 40 gigabyte partition, and make sure that partition is encrypted. So when it boots, it's going to ask for a password to decrypt that encrypted partition. Simple as that. Now, to do this, the most easiest, and I think this is the way you should do it, because you want to install the operating system as a virtual implementation, as a VM, so that you can do testing. You can also use that VM, you can distribute it, you can share it, and you can also quickly use it on different computers. Like you can use it on a laptop, you can use it you can run the thing on your Windows operating system, you can run it on Linux, you can run it on Mac OS. So I think this is the most ideal way to do things. Now, I'm going to explain what we're doing here. Okay, so let's say this is your let's say this is your hard drive. Okay, I'm gonna show it as a partition. Okay, and this is a 250 gigabyte. Well, the way how Ubuntu wants us to install an encrypted installation, the entire operating system, is that they want to do something called full disk installation. Now, spell this wrong. Full disk. Okay. Now, to do this on Ubuntu currently is that the entire Linux system will be installed here. So let me explain more. So this is a hard drive, and it's only going to take about, let's say, maybe 20 gigabytes to install Linux. But what's going to happen is that if you want to make a clone of this, Ubuntu with encryption. Okay, so this is encrypted with Ubuntu. This is Ubuntu, and the rest of this is just free space. And it is part of Ubuntu as well. Okay, this is like just free empty space. And this entire space is going to be 230 gigabytes, which is just, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you want to encrypt the entire 230 gigabyte? So that's why, and now let's say this right here is a hard drive. So this is hard drive 1. And this right here is hard drive 2. And now how can you make a clone of this Ubuntu encrypted? This is encrypted right here. This is encrypted. Now how can you make a clone from this to here? Well, you're going to get into a lot of problems. Number one, these two hard drives, they need to be identical, like sector by sector. They need to be identical. So if this is a 250 gigabyte hard drive, okay, then this hard drive needs to be greater or equal to 250 gigabytes. Yes, it's stupid. Now, let's say you have a 240 gigabyte hard drive. Like that I got into this issue where you see, this is a Kingston hard drive. Okay, this hard drive is only 240 gigabytes. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this hard drive is only 240 gigabytes. And this hard drive, this is a PNY, and this hard drive is 250 gigabytes. So now, but this is the master copy. So how can I copy the master copy into this? You can't do it. It's just not gonna work, because I have Ubuntu encrypted installed as a full disk, like the entire 250 gigabytes. So right here, and the problem is that it's only 20 gigabytes of data, but since it's full disk encrypted, it's full disk encrypted, that means the entire 250 gigabyte is encrypted. So it's 20 gigabyte plus the 230 gigabyte. So this entire thing is encrypted, and if you want to copy this as a clone, I use DD. DD, it clones bit by bit, byte by byte. This is the best way to make clones. I like using this stuff. Is fast. It's ridiculously fast, and it's easy to use. But you're gonna have to clone the entire 250 gigabyte hard drive to here. Now it's not gonna work because this thing is only 240 gigabytes. You're 10 gigabytes short. So how is this gonna work? It's not gonna work. So therefore, you have to do things the right way. You have to install these things the right way, okay? And this is especially useful in IT applications. Okay, like IT situations, like in IT, you're not going to install the entire encrypted thing, on a 240 gigabyte, not even 100 gigabyte, disk or partition. It's just that's just dumb. You know, you're just wasting time. All that free space, that 230 gigabyte free space, it's just copying all these random, you know, leftover data, you know, from previous installations or from previous things, whatever. It's just all weird garbage data being copied into this thing, and it doesn't make any sense to do that. The only reason why we're forced to do this is because how Luke's encryption works, you know, and all the grub and all of the boot sectors. You know, it's saying that, hey, I first made an installation of this hard drive here with 230 gigabytes, and it ended at this sector, and it starts at this sector, and you know, like the hard drive sectors, and so it has to match with that sector to this sector. So there's a lot of weird, complicated things. I don't want to get into that. There's just no point of dealing with that. The only time you would want to deal with that is you're trying to do recovery from an encrypted hard drive. That's when you would need to actually deal, you know, spend hours and days and trying to figure out, you know, which sector the hard drive starts and not or ends, you know, and doing all of these other key root things, you know. For doing a fresh installation, doing all these things, it just makes no sense to do that. So to do things the right way, this is how we would do it. We would first need to install Ubuntu on a partition, you know. So let's say this is our hard drive, 250 gigabyte. We would want to install it at a partition, at a fixed partition. Okay, ideal partition, you know, 40 gigabytes. You know, 40 gigabytes is more than enough. You know, maybe let's say you're doing some other different things. You know, let's say you're doing, I don't know what it is, but let's say you need at least, you know, 100 gigabytes. Okay, so then you make a 100 gigabyte partition. Okay, you make a 100 gigabyte partition. I need only 40 gigabytes. So this is 40 gigabytes right here. This right here is 100 gigabytes. Okay, so you just make your partition. Okay, now to make your partition, you use something called gparted. Use gparted to make your partition. This stuff is easy to use. This thing is a blessing. Just use gparted. If you don't know how to use it, just Google it, and it'll show you how to do it. I'll also make a video. We're going to use gparted. We're going to partition our hard drive. So we need a fresh hard drive, and we're going to use a GPT partitioning scheme, and then we will create a 40 gigabyte partition right here. Well, not a 40 gigabyte partition, but a 40 gigabyte hard drive. Virtual, okay? A virtual 40 gigabyte hard drive. Okay. Using VM. Okay. We will use a VM, and that VM is called VirtualBox. VM. That's what we're going to use. This stuff is that simple to use. It always works, and I've been using this for years. And this thing is a lifesaver. It works for Mac OS, it works for Windows, and it works for Linux. And it does a lot of recovery and repairs. Like, that's what I use it for. This tool is used for other things, but I use it for these certain things. You know, like basically trying to make copies and clones and fix things and reverse engineer. This stuff is very useful. Okay, so we make a 40 gigabyte virtual hard drive. Okay, make a 40 gigabyte virtual hard drive in VirtualBox. You see what's going on here? We're going to trick Ubuntu. We're tricking Ubuntu, thinking that there's a hard drive only the size of 40 gigabyte. But in essence, it's actually a partition. It's like a partition for us. It's a partition, but Ubuntu thinks this is a hard drive. And so we're gonna teach this retarded Ubuntu that this 40 gigabyte virtual hard drive to do a full disk encryption. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Simple as that. It just works. It works magic. It doesn't give any problems. It just simply works. And that's what we're going to do. That's how simple it is. So, and then we do the installation. It takes only 5 minutes, you know. It took me 5 minutes, and I'm using a 10-year-old computer, okay, and it works. And so once we do the installation onto this 40 gigabyte virtual hard drive, we then convert this hard drive. It's going to be I think it's a VDI. It's a VDI hard drive, virtual hard drive. We're going to convert this into an image hard drive. Once we convert that into an image hard drive, it's very easy. It takes only like 5 minutes to do as well, you know. Now this image hard drive is your master copy. This is your master copy, and it will work. Well, this is also your master copy as well, but it's only for VM things. But this right here, the image file, I mean, it can be recognized by, you know, like DVD burners, ISO burners. DD also understands this image file, and it can directly make a clone to any hard drive, you know. So this image file is going to be 40 gigabytes, and you can easily use DD to make a clone into a 240 gigabyte hard drive. And so what's going to happen is that this clone will go here. It's going to be 40 gigabyte here, and the rest will be 200 gigabytes. It's free space, and then it just works. You just do the clone, and now you just, you know, you hook it into your computer, and it'll boot. It'll just work perfectly fine. And you can use Ubuntu from there to expand it. You can expand. You can make this 40 gigabyte to be part of this 200 gigabyte. That's easy. You can just Google it, or you can just make this 200 gigabyte as a storage disk. You know, whatever it is that you want. Or you can make this 200 gigabyte and you can encrypt it into loops. You can do that too. That's very easy to do. You can just Google that. But anyway, I'm going to show how all of this is done. It's very simple. So now with all the theory behind, let's end up doing this. So so get your PC booted. Okay, I have my computer booted here. Okay, so you get Ubuntu. So what you do is you simply install Ubuntu 24.04. Oh, by the way, you do not want to use Ubuntu 25, the latest, greatest, okay? Because the problem is that, let's say if you do into IT applications, or if you need something that will work for at least 5 years, 10 years, you would want to use Ubuntu 24, because it's called LTS, long-term support. And so how long does Ubuntu support for 24.04 LTS? So the LTS version, they will have support for at least 5 years. You know, so if you want 5 years support of security updates and all these other stupid bugs, you know, you would want to use the LTS version, the long-term support, long-term support version. And this is why you would want to use 24.04 and not 25. Maybe certain situations you might want to use it, but in most situations it doesn't make sense to use the latest one, because anything that 25 can do, 24 can do it as well in most situations. So if you're Ubuntu Pro, you can get support up to 10 years that's just ridiculous, you know. So I rather just stick with something that I get long-term support, you know. So use 24.04, and now 24.04 doesn't, you know, for some reason it doesn't allow to do installation of Ubuntu system encryption at a fixed partition. You know, it's just really stupid. But anyhow, we'll use this method. I'll show you how to do it, and you know, we can just basically do a regular installation, and you know, it's just very simple to do, with no messing around with boot sectors or grub or cheat root or anything in that nature. Anyway, so here we do, we go here, we're gonna use Ubuntu 24.04, the installation installer, you know, copy it, burn it into a USB stick, hard drive. I use SSD. I don't use USB sticks. Those things are stupid slow. Always use SSDs. These things are like dirt cheap. You can buy them for like $20, you know, like 200 gigabyte. Always buy the good stuff, the crucial. Buy this thing. Okay, you do not want to buy the stuff that's cheap or low cost. Is the reason why it's cheap. It's gonna die on you. I bought a 1 terabyte, you know, some NVMe drive, and you know, it was cheap, and I bought it, and I put very sensitive information in there, like very important information, and that stupid thing just died for some reason because of overheating. Whoever designed it were complete retards, and you know, they designed it and it just died. That thing just died, and I lost all of my information. So long story short, buy this stuff. It's expensive, but it's worth it. It's not gonna die on you, especially when you put important information in there. Okay, so with that said, burn Ubuntu 24.04 into an SSD hard drive and boot it up. So here I got it booted up, and oh, by the way, this is not on a VM. You can do it on a VM at this particular stage, is up to you, but I'm doing this on a regular PC. All right, and so we're gonna click on try install Ubuntu, click enter, thing booting. Okay, so once it boots, this is a live disk of Ubuntu 24.04, and here I'll show you what the problem is with this particular version. This Ubuntu installer is just complete nonsense. It's filled with bugs. Like, look, the installer just crashed, you know. Now to open it up again, it's gonna crash again, you know. I mean, this is why we buy Mac OS and Windows, but Linux has its purpose as well. It's free. Okay, so no, don't want to do all this update thing now. Just
Okay, now we do this. Extended selection. I mean, you can do the default. I'm just doing this. Install third party. Actually, just for the sake of this video, I don't think we should do all this. Let's just do default selection. I mean, oh, you see, it crashed again. I mean, this has been going on for years. It just always crashes. Okay, so let's just wait for this thing to figure out how to work. I don't know, it's doing this retarded thing, and it leaves us clueless, like what the hell is this thing doing? Like what bug is making it to load and being stalling and stuck and not functioning properly? Okay, so I would have to close this thing and try again. Oh, wait, is this one here? Okay. Yeah, as you can see, the Ubuntu is just riddled with issues. Anyway, I guess I can't show you why this thing it doesn't work. I mean, as you can see, it just doesn't work. But anyway, let's go install VirtualBox. Now, this step is what we're gonna install this Ubuntu into a virtual environment. We're going to install this Ubuntu into a VirtualBox, and that's what we're going to do. This thing, I'm just waiting for this thing to work so I can show you like why we can't install Ubuntu encrypted in a partition. Okay, so we go to VirtualBox. Oh no, this is the keyboard. Just go to Google. These retarded web browsers going to start doing the search on retarded ways. So let's do it this way. Okay, and go to Oracle VirtualBox. Click download. And Linux distributions. And actually we can just we can just do it this way as well. Which one is it? Ubuntu 24.04 right here. Download this thing. Okay. We can close the web browser and go back here and let this retarded thing do its thing until it figures out how to work. And let's keep this down here, and we go here. So we're gonna have to install it. First we have to do this. Sudo app. What is the sudo app get update? Yeah, sudo app get update. We have to do this retarded thing every time we want to install something on Linux. So let's do it. Well, installing something in Linux. Okay, once that's done, we're gonna have to go and install that thing, VirtualBox, which is this thing. Actually, I can just go in here in this terminal. Okay, so here we'll just type sudo install dash v, and just click tab and let it find it. Let's see if this thing can install. Click yes. Okay. It's installing. Okay, so let's see if it installed. I mean, it threw some error, but let's see. VirtualBox. Okay, here it is, VirtualBox. So let's just pin it to taskbar. Let's remove all of this garbage. That. Look for gparted. If you don't have it, just install it. If you don't know how to install it, just Google it. It's very easy. It just takes like 2 minutes. And also pin this as well. We're gonna use these a lot. Okay, so now we're gonna go make sure you download the Ubuntu. Oh, by the way, I'm using Ubuntu at Live CD because I don't want to install this. I'm just doing this on the live disk. Yeah, you know, this thing is gonna crash and then you have to do the whole thing over again, but you know, I'm just showing this for demonstration purpose. You would want to install Linux or do it on Mac or something, Windows. Don't do it on live disk because this thing's gonna crash, you know, like, so I'm just showing it for demonstration purposes. You don't need to use Linux to do this. You can just use Windows as well, but Linux is just much easier. Okay, so let this thing download. I already downloaded this thing, so no point of doing this. So I'm just gonna click close and just cancel this. And most likely I kept it somewhere. Where did I keep this thing? Disk. Okay, so the ISO file. Let it download the Ubuntu installer. I already installed it. It's right here. Okay, you see, it's right here. All right, so let's go back to the the VM, the VirtualBox. Alright, so make sure you follow these steps. It's really important. Let's just close this. So we click on new. And let's just call this anything you want. Let's call it Ubuntu. Before doing all this, let me change the background. This is like, it's already burning my eyes looking all of this stuff. So yeah, my face is always stuck into the screen years upon years, and so you want this thing to be in dark mode. Yes, it's good for your eyes. Your eyes will thank you for it. Okay, so yeah, so this thing didn't turn into dark mode, everything else did. Okay, so let's just call this thing Ubuntu 24.04. I mean, by the way, you can name this anything you want. This is what I'm calling it, you know, VM, okay? And let's say 40 GB, okay, because that's gonna be the hard drive size or the partition. And then we go to Linux, Ubuntu. I mean, yeah, you can be specific, you know, if you want. I'm gonna be specific, you know, just, you know, why not? If I had that option, might as well. This is not really needed, but, you know, might as well do it. No, it's 24.04. Okay, click next. Processor, you know, I'm gonna put 8 because that's how many CPUs, cores I have. So base memory, okay, 2 gigabytes more than enough, but I'm gonna do 8 because I want this thing to run fast. So run it as fast as you can. If you have a 4-core PC, just put maybe 3 cores. You know, if you have a dual core, you know, you might as well just put 2. You know, if you have 8 core like I do, just put 8. Enable EFI. Now, I'm not gonna get into details what EFI is. This thing is like has to do something with the motherboard bootloader, which the motherboard has a bootloader. This is like the new type of BIOS. I'm not sure if you know what BIOS is, but this is something related to BIOS, but the new modern type. It's called Unified EFI. So, I mean, if you know what this is, you might as well enable it, but I'm just gonna stick with the legacy BIOS mode. You know, it's just like, it's whatever, you know, I really don't need the EFI, but you can use EFI if you want. But I'm gonna have Ubuntu boot as BIOS. You can have it boot as EFI. It's up to you. You might need EFI. If you know why you need it, then you might as well use it. But for some situations, you might need it because you want that extra layer of security where the EFI, by the way, EFI is not supported on all computers. It's only supported on like modern advanced computers. They have this EFI built into the motherboard of your computer. So if your computer has EFI, then you might as well use it. My computer has it, but I don't use it because I don't want to deal with all of that BIOS nonsense. I have to go to the BIOS and enable it. The computers I'm using, these are just like general purpose computers, and I rather use BIOS. BIOS is really simple to use. It always works. It doesn't give any trouble. So I'm just gonna stick with the BIOS. EFI has more better options, like you can lock that thing. You can do secure booting. You know, if you need that secure booting, you know, might as well use EFI. You can Google about it, but I'm not gonna use it. So it's up to you. Okay, this is why we're using the VM. We're doing all of this because of this. This is why we're using this specific page right here. This is the reason why we're going through all of this hassle, because Ubuntu fails to do this particular thing. So here I have the Ubuntu installer. This is just demonstration purpose. Only this part right here, this thing. So I'm just showing you, like, this is the Ubuntu installer. Oh, by the way, I had to reinstall the computer because I had an extra hard drive. It was in the computer, so I had to take it out, that hard drive, then put the ISO image in there, because I don't want to download that thing. It's going to take forever for me, so I had to reboot and do the whole thing all over again. But anyway, so now it's working. You know, the installer, now it's working. Before you saw, like, it was stuck. It wasn't working. That thing just didn't want to work. But now it's working because I rebooted the PC. But anyway, we really don't need this thing, you know. We only need it in a VM. But I'm just showing you as a demonstration purpose. Let's say we got Ubuntu installer and we're installing it into our computer. This is the nonsense that we have to go through. Oh, you see, oh, that thing just crashed. It just crashed. Okay, so let's go click next. All of this nonsense, you know, like, I mean, installing Windows is just much easier than installing Linux, like Ubuntu. This thing is going through all of these options. I mean, you should just keep it very simple. How do you want to install Ubuntu manual install? Oh, I don't even have the option to use encryption. Wow, isn't that nice? Yeah, so you can't use encryption on this particular setup. Why? I'm not too sure. Anyway, see, this is why you do not want to install Ubuntu on your computer. It's just whoever designed the Ubuntu installer, yeah, the Ubuntu team have no clue what they're doing. But yeah, so there you go. Never ever install Ubuntu on a computer. Use a VM because it's going to do all of this nonsense. I cannot even install the encryption. It's weird. Like, I have 2 hard drives in the computer. One is the installer and the other one is just you know, it just has Ubuntu in it. Like, I have another Ubuntu on this hard drive. It doesn't work because this thing just crashes, and God knows why. It just crashes, and this is the installer. This one is the one that has. Oh no, I think this one. Yeah, this one is the installer. The Ubuntu installer, like the one we're just, you know, like this thing right here. This Ubuntu right here we're using. You see, this is the Ubuntu installer. It's on live disk. I put it on an SSD. It's this one, and this is the like another extra hard drive where I want to install Ubuntu, like the master copy. But for some reason, Ubuntu installer cannot recognize that extra hard drive. I can easily format it and install Ubuntu on that drive. It fails to do so. And how in the world am I going to install with encryption? Like, you see, is this one. So see where it says ISO 9660? This is the Ubuntu installer drive, the SDB. The SDA, you know, with the A, this is the one that I want to install Ubuntu. The bootloader will have this. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. So can I delete this? Let me delete this one first. Delete this. Delete this. Point root gigabyte. I say 20 gigabyte. 20. Oh, let's just put 40. This will be a little future proof. And click next. Let's just say use your password. Just put some random password. You see no disk encryption, nothing. We're like, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, I do this again. It still doesn't work. Anyway, so let's go back to the VM. Okay, we go back to the VM. Here, we can specify the hard drive. We're gonna say it's 40 GB. Okay, and Ubuntu should recognize it and allow us to do full disk encryption installation. You know, and just click next, and take note where this is going to be installed. The hard drive is going to be installed here. Okay, this is where the VM hard drive. Make sure you take note of that and click finish. Okay, and now we need to do one more thing. We need to tell this VM where the ISO image is of the Ubuntu installer. So it's this one right here. You go here. I kept it here somewhere. Right here. No, this one. Wait, is it? Yeah, okay, this one here. So after you download Ubuntu installer, you want to open it here. Okay, it's gonna be open here, and just click live CD and make sure it's enabled. Make sure it's picked. Okay, so just click this. See, it says location. Okay, and this right here, this is the Ubuntu. This is gonna be the hard drive for the computer, the virtual computer, virtual machine. Take note of that. And anything else we do need to enable. You can put USB 3.0. You know, if you might need use it. We're not going to use it. Video memory, I'm going to increase this to at least 80, 90, and base memory processor. Okay, everything is good. Now everything should work perfectly. Just click start, and the VM should work. Okay, so you see the VM work. It just works perfectly. And we're gonna say try or install Ubuntu. Yes. Okay, just cancel this. Okay, and okay. Just throwing all the spam pop-ups. And so let this VM boot, and I'll show you that Ubuntu installer works perfectly. It's pretty interesting, right? We have a live disk running virtual disk only to run another live disk. Yeah, it might throw a lot of errors. You know, just ignore it and just let it run. You know, just give it like another few minutes. Just let it do its thing. It should figure out how to work and boot properly. So just give it a few more minutes. Yeah, see, it should work. Linux was designed to boot on VMs. Okay, so it should work. And VirtualBox also designed. See, it works. They designed it so that Linux, you know, like the most popular Ubuntu Linux can just boot. It does boot, you see, it just booted. And look, the installer should work perfectly. Just give it like another minute or so. Okay, see, it works. Hopefully it doesn't crash. It should not crash. I do not want to connect to the internet. Just skip this, install. Just click next. Okay, you see, this is the part where everyone is having issues when installing Ubuntu with encryption. I'm even having more issues. I don't even have this option. It's just weird. But anyway, this is what everyone was getting through, this issue where they cannot manually specify a specific partition. So you click advanced features, and you see this is the only options we get. Like, it's just stupid. Use LVM and encryption. This is the thing what you want to use, and that's it. And also, I tried this, it doesn't work. If you go here and click manual installation, click next, and then make a partition, it's gonna say, yeah, we're gonna install Ubuntu with this 40 gigabyte partition with LVM and encryption. No, it's not gonna work. I tried it already 5 times, it doesn't work. This method where you can select it of the encryption, and there'll be like another checkbox dialog where you can click and say, I would want to erase a previous Ubuntu, or I want to install Ubuntu along with another Linux distribution. Then it would actually install whatever leftover free space you have and use encryption and install it. Install Ubuntu alongside with either Windows or Ubuntu. So if that doesn't make sense, I mean, there's already like a few videos showing how to do that, so I really don't want to get into that because that's another method. I find that as like a loophole or like another way to do it, but that way is you don't have fine control of specifying I want 40 GB at the very first sector and install Ubuntu. There's no way to do that. So those methods, I really didn't want to get into that. So, but to explain what I'm talking about, like the way you would do it, installing Ubuntu with another Ubuntu or another Linux or another operating system like Windows, this is how you would do it on this particular version of 24.04. It's just complete retarded, but this is the way you do it. And so let me get this thing. Show what I'm talking about here. Okay, so right here, let's say you have a hard drive. Okay, you have a hard drive here, and let's say this is a 200 gigabyte hard drive. Okay, and let's just do it half. This is 100 GB, and this is 100 GB. Here, let's say you have Windows. Or 11. It works on either Windows 10 or 11. Or you have Linux. Like let's say Ubuntu. Maybe like an older version, maybe like Ubuntu 20 version 23 or something. Okay. Now let's say you want to install Ubuntu 24.04 in this partition right here. So how would you do it is that the Ubuntu installer should recognize, it should see that there's Windows and then there's Linux. It should detect that, and it'll give you a dialogue. It'll give you like a dialogue saying, hey, do you want to erase a particular OS, existing OS, and install Ubuntu? Install Ubuntu 24.04, or do you want to install along with it? It'll show you like these either two options. It'll ask you, do you want to do this, or you want to do this. You know, so basically you can say, yeah, I want to do this. I want to install Ubuntu 24.04 along with Linux. So what that means is that this is your hard drive, and let's say you have to do this beforehand. And this is why I find it retarded. I don't want to get into all of this nonsense, you know. It's just stupid, but this is the way you would do it. You would first install you first need to make two partitions. You know, this is partition A, this is partition B, and this has to be a specific size, and this has to be a specific size. You know, you set it or whatever it is. You know, whatever the remaining free space here, there's no OS here, nothing here, nothing. It's just completely empty or something like that. You know, this one has Linux, Windows, you know, some kind of OS is in there. Whatever Ubuntu could able to recognize. It should be able to recognize Windows and Linux easily, no problem. The Ubuntu 24.04, it will detect that this partition B has nothing, and so when you use this option, install Ubuntu along with another OS, it's going to install Ubuntu in this partition right here. And the nice thing about it is that it will actually do full disk encryption. It'll do full disk encryption, meaning that the Ubuntu OS 24.04, you know, like let's say this is your root file, you know, like the entire OS will be encrypted, but there'll be like another little small partition here. You know, this will be your bootloader. The bootloader will need to be exposed so that in BIOS mode it can actually get instructions what to do. You know, it needs to read something that's not encrypted, so it's going to read this bootloader unencrypted, and then it will say, hey, this, if you want to run this, if you want to boot this Ubuntu OS, please give me a pass key, or, you know, a password, and it will figure out how to unlock it and boot Windows, Ubuntu OS. But anyhow, this is what you can do with this current version, Ubuntu 24.04. And if you're doing a multi-boot, boot installation, this is the way you would do it. So just Google or watch on YouTube. I already saw like 2 or 3 people, they did it nicely, how to install Ubuntu 24.04 along with Windows and as well as Linux. And I also verified this does work. I just don't want to do this way because I'm not doing a multi-boot. I just basically want to install one hard drive with Ubuntu 24.04 of a specific size. I want it to be only 40 GB, and it needs to be encrypted. This has to be a full disk encryption. You know, that's what I want it to be, and so this is what I'm showing. And to do this, you can't really do it. You can't do it with this particular Ubuntu installer. It just, yeah, I don't know what they were smoking, but yeah, they completely were smoking some bad stuff and didn't do the right thing. So we're gonna use VirtualBox, and this is how we're doing it. And so I'm gonna close this and go back here. Okay, and so now the beauty of this is that we are installing Ubuntu in a virtual computer, and the nice thing about it is that this computer, virtual VM, has a 40 GB set. We specified a 40 GB hard drive, but we're tricking Ubuntu. Ubuntu thinks that this hard drive where it's going to install Ubuntu. This installer, installer in the VM, it thinks that the hard drive is 40 GB and it's going to do a full disk installation. You see? Erase disk and install Ubuntu. And it's going to do the installation with LVM and encryption. So that means the entire 40 GB will have full disk encryption with Ubuntu in it and being installed into it. And it's that simple. And so we're just going to click next. And then, we set the password and everything. And we saw previously that, so you see if you do this and click use LVM and encryption, and if you want to install it on a specified 40 GB partition, you can't do it this way. Like, you cannot select it here and then click manual installation. Can't do it here. It's just not going to work. You could do it for the other ones, like if you want to install Ubuntu with another OS, it would work that way, but not in this, doing a manual installation where you set the specified size. It's just not going to work here. Nope. So anyway, we do this, erase disk and install Ubuntu. Make sure this one is clicked. And then just use, any password you want. I'm just going to give it a simple password. Oh god, my Bluetooth keyboard. Okay. Okay, so just click next. Just give any name you want, user. Just click next. Next. So you see right here, it's doing the Luke's LVM encryption. And just click install. And it should take like 5 minutes, like for me it takes 5 minutes. This should be quick. So let this finish. And then we'll go back. If you're using a computer with a lot of stuff in it, if you've been using a computer for a long time, it might take a long time. So what I would do is just simply run Ubuntu Live Disk and then install VirtualBox. Then in that VirtualBox, install Linux in that VirtualBox. This is what we're doing, It's crazy, but it works. And you just have to hope that your computer that's running the live disk, for some reason it doesn't shut down, because you got to do this all over again. And two, this thing just doesn't crash. Because I don't want to install Linux all over again. Okay, so I gave it another like 3 minutes. It seems to me that the VirtualBox in the live disk, it just like not working. It's irresponsive, so I guess we try it again, or maybe we just install Linux and do it all over again. If it works for you, then that's good, but for me, seems like it's not. I'm gonna do this one more time and shut this thing down. Okay, let's do this. This time I'm gonna remove the floppy processor. I'm gonna put maybe a 7. What else? Video memory. I think I'll just lessen this a little bit. I'm gonna disable the USB. Hopefully it might work better. Let's see if it works. Yeah, I'm just being lazy. I do not want to install Linux again because I already installed it. Okay, so I restarted the VM and tried to do it over again to see if it would install. It just crashed. If it crashes again, then we'll just install Linux on the PC and, you know, just do this all over again. Install VirtualBox into it and install Linux into the VM on and install Linux. I know this sounds very confusing, but I hope you get what's going on here. We're just doing simple things. Oh, I guess it crashed again. I mean, I've done this many times, so it seems like for some reason for this particular Ubuntu version, it's not really friendly with the VM with VirtualBox. So, okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna install Linux onto the local PC and follow the previous steps, install VirtualBox, and then do this all over again. So I'll get back into that. But if this is working for you, then just continue on. If it doesn't, just stop. Go back to the live disk, which I'm going to show right now. So you see, it's not working. For some reason, the VM is just crashing in the live disk. This isn't the right way to do it, you know? If you're being lazy, you might as well go for it, but I'm being lazy, so I went for it, but it's not working for me. And, you know, so we're gonna do the proper way, which does take a little bit more time, but what we're gonna do now is just close this VM in the live disk, right here. Wait, no, is it here? Okay, yes. Click stop, power off. Okay, so we're just going to install Ubuntu into the local. Oh, this is just, oh man. Anyway, so that's what I just basically wanted to show. I really don't want to go. I really don't want to install Linux into the local PCA because I only have 2 hard drives, and the way Ubuntu is designed is just complete retarded. You're gonna have to. You can't install Ubuntu on the drive where it's running from. It's stupid. So, and I could install it into this drive. You know, it just has the ISO image of the Ubuntu installer and the VM. Anyway, so what I'm going to show is this. You basically do the installation, okay, of Ubuntu in the VM. Now here's what's going to happen. Once the installation is done, you just completely close the VM. Just close it. You don't need any more. It did the hard work. It installed Ubuntu in its VM drive, and so this is where it's going to be located. Where was it? Okay, so here it's going to be at home, VirtualBox VMs, and here it is, right here. You see? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Okay, I think it should be this one. It should be this one, yes. I don't know why it's showing 2 megabytes. It should show 40 GB. That's because the full installation did not happen. But anyway, it's gonna be this. The extension should be VDI. And you would need to convert this into IMG. To do that, okay, so here, this is what I want to show. These are the commands you would need to use to convert the virtual hard drive into an IMG file. Okay, so on the VM, just as I showed, you do the installation. Once the installation is done in the VM, just close it, just shut it down, just how I did it. Just shut it down, and then you just you convert the VDI file. You know, I just showed you where it is. I think I closed it. Yeah, I closed it. Did I close it? I think I did. Does Ubuntu allow? No, Ubuntu doesn't. This retarded ass UI doesn't show me which files are open. This is why you would want to use KDE Plasma. It has common sense. Anyway, so here on the virtual drive, you use the VDI and you convert it to IMG over here. I'm sorry, the mouse is just all lagging because I'm recording this on a very stupid slow Windows computer, which is like filled with crap, and when you fill it with crap, it just runs like crap. So this is why it's retarded slow. But anyway, I just want to show is that here on Ubuntu with the virtual machine, when you install Ubuntu, you would have the VDI file. This is the hard drive for the virtual machine, and you would run this command: vbox manage clone hd -- format raw, and make sure you put these little comma marks, you know, right here to here, so that, because there's a space in between, because VirtualBox, they have a retarded person decided that one of the programmers are really retarded, where they decided that, hey, let's put a fucking space on the folder, you know, so that when you try to convert shit, it's not going to convert properly because you're going to have to put these little stupid little commas. Or we can just rename that folder and put an underscore, which that retarded programmer forgot to do. But anyhow, when we have retarded programmers, we would use these little things right here, these little comma marks. This should solve all that retarded shit going on with the files with the space on it. It's going to treat it as just like one directory. It'll just go right to it, you know. It's going to consider these spaces into it. But as programmers, as IT, you know, professions, you know, we don't put fucking spaces in folders. It's just stupid. And VirtualBox is like an IT software. I don't know why in the world they put a fucking space on the folder. Just straight up retarded. Anyway, just letting you know, make sure the file path, it has this little comma mark on it so that it can access this VDI easily with no problem. And the name of the VDI is whatever you named it. You know, on VirtualBox, you know how we named it, Ubuntu 24.04 40 GB, you know, it would be that name. Then this is the source, okay? The source of the VDI, virtual machine hard drive, and this is the destination where it's going to convert this hard drive into an IMG file. Okay, and you just run that command. It's only gonna take 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. For me, it took me 5 minutes on a 10-year-old computer. If it takes any longer than that on your computer with the 8-core PC, then you seriously have some shit going on with your computer that you're gonna have to figure out. Just reinstall it, or like a fresh installation of Windows, Mac, or Linux, and do this, you know, whole virtual machine thing. You know, and install VirtualBox and install Linux into it. And then do this, you know, because these things should not take, this whole installation, everything we were doing should not take more than an hour. If you spent more than an hour doing this, then and following the tutorial as well, you know, like the whole process doing it, if it takes more than an hour, then I don't know what's going on. You know, something serious is wrong is going on. But this should take less than 30 minutes. You should write everything down, all the steps, follow this video, and just get into it. And the whole thing should take less than 1 hour. Anyway, so once this conversion is done, once you convert the VDI to IMG, there you go. Now you have this IMG. You can burn it into a hard drive. You can burn it into a disk. You can burn it to a USB file, anything. You know, use a Rufus or whatever the hell you want to use. I use DD, okay? This is the thing you would want to use. This thing is stupid fast. It's really, really fast. You just set the speed and it goes up to like 300 megabytes per second on these cheap little hard drives that I bought like 7 years ago, and it goes up to 300 megabytes per second. That is really fast, and it works. So yeah, I got so much shit on top of my desk, pressing fucking TV remote buttons and everything. Anyway, so this is what you would want to do, and then this fucking Sony TV, like what the fuck, pressing all these fucking buttons. Okay, so then you would use this command right here, the DD command. The DD command, this is going to do is that it's going to take this image file. What this command does right here, if you want to know what this command does, you can Google it. You know, what it does is that it takes this VDI file and converts it from a virtual machine hard drive into like a regular hard drive format, you know, which is called IMG. You know, just to give it to like a simple explanation, it takes the virtual hard drive, converts it into like a regular hard drive. Now you can take this regular hard drive file and burn it into anything you want, like literally anything. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to use a DD command. If you don't know how to use DD, learn it. It's really extremely useful. And so it's very simple. So you put a source and then you put a destination. The source will be obviously this right here, an IMG file, and the destination will be your hard drive. Okay. If you don't know how this really works, then you don't know. You shouldn't be even using Linux in the first place. But this is just the very essential basics. It's very easy to understand. And so this is an example, SDC. This is the destination of the hard drive. This is going to be like the 250 gigabyte path to the drive. If that makes no sense, then here, I'll try to make things more sense. So you open up disk, and let's say it's going to be this fucking hard drive right here. Yeah, the destination is this right here. Well, no, Okay, this is really gonna. Yeah, the way they design these things, the UI is just straight up fucking retarded. Like no fucking common sense. But anyway, only fucking people likes using this shit, they use it. Anyway, so over here it should show that this fucking drive right here, 250 GB disk, it should be dev-sdb. Okay, so to confuse fucking people, whoever designed this fucking thing is a fucking retard, and they decide to put a fucking 1 because I clicked on this. But what about the name of this fucking drive? Like, what is the fucking destination of this? You know, so they just fucking confuse people with this shit. And so this drive is actually dev-sdb. Okay, so if that makes it less confusing, that's what it is. So the name or the path of this fucking drive right here is /dev-sdb. Okay? And so all you need to do now is just take that Ubuntu, convert an image, and you just burn it into this fucking drive right here. That's how simple it is. It really is that simple. But all of this fucking Linux UI shit, they complicate things, and it's just fucking retarded, you know? So the way you would do it is just this. You just put sudo dd, you put the destination of the image file, or you know, the source of the path of that image file, and then you put the destination of. Of is the destination, if is the source. So of will be the destination, and it will be dev-sdc. Here you just put it to sdb. Let's say you want it to be here, you know, you want it to be this, and you just put sdb. And that's how simple it is. And you just click enter, and it will copy this image file into that hard drive. And there you go. Oh, and also another thing is, when doing this, make sure that you format the entire hard drive. Just like make it clean, you know. You don't want to like have Linux being confused by itself, you know. So just clean that shit, format it, and then do it. Okay. Use gparted, you know. So what I mean is this right here. So use this gparted right here, and just fucking delete everything, you know. Just delete all of these fucking things. If you don't know how to do it, just Google it. It'll show you. Just, you know, right click and delete. My fucking computer recording thing is like, it's retarded slow, so I can't really move the fucking mouse. It just stalls at one place. But here, I'll show you. See, you just click delete, delete, delete. Just delete everything, and then you just click this fucking check mark button, and there you go. You're done. And now you take that hard drive where it has an image file burned into it, and you just boot onto the computer, and it'll just fucking boot. It'll just boot perfectly. And then the beauty thing about it is that you have a 40 GB Ubuntu burned into any hard drive. You know, it could be a 100 gigabyte hard drive, 200 gigabyte hard drive, it could be a 50 gigabyte hard drive, whatever it is, it'll burn into it perfectly. And that hard drive can now be like your master copy, you know? So that's what I did here. So this is my hard drive right here, and this is gonna be like my master copy. And I just keep this one fucking copy, and I can easily use DD to copy this drive into this fucking drive, you know, or into another fucking hard drive. It just works perfectly that way. So you just take this one and you copy into this one, or you take this one and you copy to another one, or, you know, you just take this fucking hard drive, you know, you take this one now and then you copy into this one, you know. So it's just that simple. And you always want to keep a master copy so you don't have to go through all of this fucking shit all over again. So I hope this video is helpful and make things clear how to do an encryption, Ubuntu full disk and encryption. And by the way, I just clear things out. This isn't like a real hardware encryption. This is just a full disk Ubuntu system encryption, if that makes any sense. We're just encrypting the entire Ubuntu installation partition. So it's basically a full disk Ubuntu partition disk, installation process, and this works.